Hi guys, welcome back. That was some serious dropping today, mostly from the tech. Nasdaq was down 2.46%. But the good news is the volume was not that big compared to the previous days when it was dropping a lot. And also so far it has reached the support of this gap up. So we should be expecting some rebound soon. S&P 500 on the other hand had an increase of the selling volume. But it seems that the big force was driven by Tesla, dropping 8.5% in one day, being quite a heavy weight on the index. Dow Jones, on the other hand, could still manage to be up a little bit with the increase of volume, mainly driven by the recovery stocks, the oil, and so on. On the other hand, VIX was not up that much, with only 6% up, even though the Nasdaq was dropping so much. It's mainly because the Fear and Greed Index shows 56 level, which is still in the greed territory, not at all in the fear side yet. This is why, even though the index is dropped to a support level, I'm still not convinced that the correction is over yet, mainly because we don't have enough fear in the market yet, and people are still greedy even though with such a big drop today. So that's why I'm prepared for the index to continue dropping more, and I will trim my short-term position and some short-term call option at a rebound. Okay, let's look at our stock. As usual, we begin with our baby NIO. Baby NIO was down 7.9% today. That was a huge drop, breaking far from the support of 55, going towards the support of 49. And I believe it's not only driven by the market correction, but also driven by the big fall of Tesla, dropping 8.5% in one day, as the absolute leader of the EV sector right now. Because Volkswagen announced that it would take over Tesla to be the leader of EV by 2025. So it seems like this drop shows the fight back from the traditional ICE cars towards the new EV players. That would include NIO, XPeng, and Li Auto. So this drop is really a lot as a giant company sized like Tesla, being the heavyweight stock in the S&P 500. So no wonder it would drive NIO down to almost 8%. And these two stocks are surprisingly synchronized to break through the 60-day moving average today. You see, it's the same here for NIO, very synchronized. But I would expect NIO to be well supported on this line of 49. And I think this is a fall that's driven mainly by the market sentiment towards a new EV player, and not so much by the fundamental of the company. So I expect it to rebound soon. And it just makes NIO more and more looking like a good deal. And I think institutions would be happy to catch the falling knives, but they are usually very patient. LKCO is still going sideways as we expected for two reasons. Number one, the 100 million offer was a lot to digest, so we do need to expect to give it some time for it to finish selling. And number two, if we expect it to have movement, we need the institutions to buy in. And how do they buy in? They want people to cut loss here and take profit from here, right? Because if people don't cut loss and take profit, then how do institutions keep buying? That's why I expect the volume to keep going less. And how to make people that bought at the top to cut loss and make people who bought at the bottom to take profit. The best thing and most effective way is to create fear. That's why I expect to hear bad news in the coming days. Another way would be keep going sideways until people lose patience, okay? So now I'm prepared for this, then I'm ready to do nothing. JKS took a big dip, dropping 10% for today with a slight spike of volume. It was a lot driven by the whole sector. This Enphase Energy, ticker symbol ENPH, had also a huge drop of 11.5% today and continue dropping after hours. And it has a much bigger market cap than JKS. And it was dropping, breaking the support too. As well as the Canadian Solar, ticker symbol CSIQ. It also dropped near 9% today. I owned this previously, but not anymore. I had sold it at 62 last week. The good thing is that it's still staying above the support. So back to JKS. It was dropping quite a bit, mainly because the whole solar sector was down. So now it has reached the next support of 51. So if it bounces back from here, or it doesn't break the support of 51, or if it breaks the support quickly and bounce back up right after, then it's still okay. WIMI is holding strong, even though the market was having a big correction, still managed to go up 1%. Huami had a bit of a sell-off, mainly because it was growing quite fast, so it's normal for it to come back down to backtest. If you don't have a position in Huami, 17 it's okay to open position. First support of Huami is at 17, and second support is 15. So if you don't have a position in Huami, you can open a position here, and if it drops lower, you can continue adding. Mesa still managed to go up 4%, near 5% today, and continue after market, mainly because the whole recovery sector was up today and the Dow Jones managed to stay up. But today there was one stock that surprised me, was 36K Holding, ticker symbol KRKR. Even with such a big correction, it still managed to explode 17% up. I am very surprised. If you have followed my channel, you know that I bought this stock at 4.5 on Thursday and notified the Discord. And I had shared a video on Saturday to talk about this. So as of right now, we should be up about 30% after 2-3 days. So if you haven't checked out my video on Saturday, you should check it out. I'll put the link here. So now let's give a little bit more time to talk about our EH, okay? So EH has dropped to my second support line of $53. As I expected last week, it would go sideways and consolidate before slowly moving back up, because there were a lot of people that trapped here. So they would need people to cut loss here first. And it's the same thing. They need people to panic. That's why I expect to see more and more negative sentiments towards EH in the upcoming days. And to clarify more about the fraud case towards the Kunxiang order, I dig more into it during the weekend. So let's get back to the Wolfpack Research short report. So this is where they accuse Yihang to fabricate the sales by blowing up the sales number by 100 times. So this is where they accuse Yihang to fabricate their sales and blow it up by 100% to be 450 million for 3 drones, which makes it the unit price of 150 million each. This is usually 100 times than their average price. If this is true, for them to fabricate their sales by 100 times, this is really huge. So let's see the real sales contract back then. This is the scanned version of the original sales contract done on February 1st, 2019 with the Kunxiang, where you can see all the details, the date, the price, and the company stamps with the signature. This is how they sign contract in China, with the signature and stamp, right? So this is the original contract, scanned to show us. And here we can clearly see the sales price to be 151. Now 1 means 10,000. So this would make it 1.5 million times 3, and that would make it 451, which is 4.5 million. So the original contract shows that the sale price was 451, which equals to 4.5 million in translation. And this is the English translation for the contract. And same thing, February 1st, 2019. Each unit sales price is 1.5 million times 3 units to be 4.5 million. So the total price was 4,500,000, which is exactly the same as the Chinese contract. And then I also checked the Q1 report of 2019 and the annual report of 2019. So this is the Q1 earning report. For 2019, in the Q1, they sold a total of 3 drones. So that was exactly the sales contract. And the only sales contract that happened in the whole first quarter of 2019. So it's really not like you can mix 3 drones in a sales of 100 to blow up this part. It's really the only part. So if they blow it up, it's very obvious because it was the only contract that happened in the whole quarter. And then for Q1 2019, the total revenue was 10 million RMB. So that was the final report that's shown on the Q1 2019 with the total revenue of 10 million. And this earning report was found on Seeking Alpha. It's an English website. It's not Yihang's official website where they can just change it later, right? So if the total revenue was 10 million in Q1 2019, then where do we see the total revenue of more than 450 million while the official earning report was 10 million RMB only? Now that's a big difference. Now let's check the 2019 annual earning report. They had the total revenue of 121 million, which is much less than one contract in the Q1 of 2019 to be 450 million. This is the whole year of 2019, and this is just one contract. So where does this number come from? Among the total revenue of 121 million in 2019, 70.5% of them are from the revenue from air mobility solution, which they have summarized here to be 85.9 million in RMB. And this is the total revenue from selling a total of 61 units of the passenger grade AAV. Okay? Now if we divide the 85.9 million of the total sale revenue by the unit of 61, we would get the unit price of 140.8 million for each unit. That would be very close to the sales contract with Kunxiang to be 150 million per unit. Now, of course, each party's contract could be confidential because Yihang have total right to sell to each party with different prices, because if somebody buy more units at once, they would likely get a cheaper price per unit. That's normal. That's business. So it seems to me that Yihang's original sales contract in Chinese and in English and the Q1 earning report of 2019 and the annual earning report of 2019 and the Q1 earning report of 2020, they all match together. And these are official earning reports released from Yihang as a public company, right? So now the question is, where does the Wolfpack Research find this number and how did that happen? First of all, as we saw in the sales contract, the total sale price to be 451, which is indeed 4.5 million. So from 451 to be 450 million, this looks very much like a mistake in translation for someone to mess up the Chinese number system to the English number and make a mistake by translation. I have seen this happen in the past, to make such mistake in translation. Now the question is, who made the mistake? Did Yihang make the mistake or did Wolfpack Research make the mistake? This part I really don't know. But what I do know is that This is what they find in EH draft registration statement file. So what I see here is the draft. So it's clear to me that the Wolfpack Research, they know the earning release from Yihang for the annual earning reports of 2019. Of course, they would first check the official document, which is what I just found in the Seeking Alpha and what we can find with the SEC. Of course, they have seen the real number to be 4.5 million everywhere, but instead they choose to show what's in a draft and completely ignore the real earning report that's official. And why would they do that? It's very clear that they want to create panic. The bigger panic, the better. Now, for someone to blow up 100 times the earning, of course it's scary. Of course it can create panic, especially after what happened with Luckin Coffee here. This is the perfect recipe to create panic. What's the perfect recipe? This is the perfect recipe. Chinese companies plus incorrect number equals panic because it's a Chinese company and because they found a mistake in a draft, and that would lead to perfect recipe for panic. And that would be the easiest solution for institutions to create panic and make people panic sell and cut loss. This is exactly what they want. Realizing this and looking back at the chart, I believe the institutions had already realized this opportunity and planned all of this already here. And that would explain why they drive up the price like this without volume and with the crazy black swan news to make everybody panic and drive down the price like this to make people panic and lose. There is a possibility that they might have known this and planned this way before we knew. So now that I know their intention, the least I want to give them is panic. Now, I would be worried if the management or the insiders have sold off their stocks during the whole run-up, but none of them had sold a single share during the run-up above $100. So what is the point to blow up anything to drive the stock price up? So this is why I said knowing someone's intention, it's more important than seeing what they do and what they say. Because this black swan news does not affect at all the company's fundamental. Because I know they did not commit a fraud, as all the numbers match up perfectly on the earning report. That's official. And I do know the prime time of Yihang, it's not right now. It's in the upcoming future. So there are tons of possibilities for it to grow so much more. And even Tesla had dropped at some point 60% multiple times. So this is Tesla last year. It was the same thing that was driven by the black swan news to drop 60%. How many retail investors have cut loss here based on panic? And I believe the institution knew COVID was coming and it only made them drive up the price even faster so it can come back down harder and quicker for people to feel panic and cut loss. And we know what happened after that. It bounced back up quickly, come back down to retest, consolidate, and then take off again. Consolidate more and then take off again. I think something like this might happen to Yihang as well. So looking back, even though some people had bought at the top here, it's still 100 something back then, while Tesla is 700 or 800 right now. Still had made tons of profit. What you need is just patience and also stick with your belief so you are not easily driven by panic, because this is exactly what the institutions want you to feel. Remember how much exposure about Tesla being hyped up, overvalued too early, and so little few cars back then to prove that it does not justify the price. Remember that? This is how they create panic sell. And now you look back, you know who sold at that time and who bought at that time. So don't make the same mistake with Yihang right now. Because I believe right now, EH is still at the beginning. It will be volatile, but at least I see EH being the safest player right now to invest. This is the key player in the ecosystem that I described before over and over again with my LKCO videos. This would play a key part in the new retail, in the smart city in China, and then expand to the world. So this is one of the most important projects and company for China right now. If there is anything that happened for EH, you know who will bail them out. So yes, right now, even after the Black Swan news, I still think EH is the safest company to invest in among all the drone players. So right now, I expect it to go up and down and consolidate for a while until more and more people feel scared and cut loss or take profit, and at the same time feel too afraid to buy the dip. This is when I think it's ready to take off again. Okay? So right now, I'm gonna do nothing. Wait for it to stabilize and show signal before I make the next move. Okay? But as of right now, I will sit tight and remember, the least thing I would give them is to panic. Okay? And if you have enjoyed this video, please give me a big like and write me a great comment. And I will see you tomorrow. That's it, guys. Hope you can find my videos helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and give me a big like. Thank you.